You are watching Agitech Media Network live, and this is the journey where we meet people that have strived with life and break through with many challenges. And today we are here at TUC of the Trade Unions Congress of Ghana, and we are here with Mrs. Comfort Akolbila Agambaa, General Secretary for Construction Manufacturers and Quarries Workers Union of the Trade Union Congress, and we are here to share her story. Who is she? Where did it start from? My name is Ignatius Akolbila. We'll be right back.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I'm Comfort Akolbila Agambaa. I come from Zwarangu. My parents are no more. That is Gerald Agambaa Tie and Beatrice Atipaka Kuta, all in blessed memory. I started my child livelihood in Zwarangu until I started my elementary school, the middle school in Zwarangu. That is Afenra Primary and Middle School. After completion of my middle school, I decided to apply for Polytechnic. And then there was a school called Adebi Commercial School in Kumasi. In those days, you go through the graphic and you see schools that are looking for admissions. So these were the two schools that I applied. And then they responded. When they responded, I was happy that I was going to either the Takoradi Polytechnic or the Adebi Commercial School in Kumasi. And by then, my father was in Takoradi. He was working with Ghana Cargo Handle Company in Takoradi. That my mother, I was staying with my mother in the house, who was doing some petty trading. You have to go and pieball this rice, then you have to go send it to the Ghanaian mail, and then I have to help her to send it to the market before I'll return back to school. And that is what we were living on while my father was in Takoradi. So when I had this admission, I think for some years, then my mother decided to join my father in Takoradi. So when I completed my middle school, but I was staying with my grandfather and my grandmother when my mother came, because we were only two. Well, that is, I was the first, and then there was a girl. It was so small. So decided to come and see where my father was. You know, those.
So you are two in the family?
At the moment, we are now 4 girls. Okay. Yeah, but I'm the most senior. The one after me was the one that my mother had to bring her to see where my father was. So I was staying with my grandfather and then my grandmother's. So I started there. That is where I started with my elementary school. So it was when I got to Form 4, wrote my middle school leaving certificate, passed successfully. Then I decided to apply. I think I like reading newspapers and those things. And one of my uncles was a teacher. So he would go and buy a graphic, and then when he comes there, after reading, I'll go and pick it. Then I'll go to where schools are, admissions of schools. So I saw Takoradi Polytechnic, and then Adebi Commercial School, which is in Kumasi. So I took the address and I wrote, and I went to the post office and posted. So it was not even up to 1 month when I had the response, the Takoradi Polytechnic and then the Adebi Commercial School. So I said, oh, then my uncle said, then you can go to your father and see if he can help you go. Even since he's in Takoradi, you can even be at the Takoradi Polytechnic. I said, okay. So I decided to come. So my uncle gave me the lorry fare, and those days you have to use the train. So I came to Kumasi. From Kumasi, I took a train to Takoradi. So I got there. So I showed him the admissions letters and those things. But he was saying that he cannot afford. And you know that mind that if you educate a woman, he sends it to the husband's house. You understand? Though he has a second wife.
Your father was married to
two women.
Right.
Yeah. So the second one had two boys,
okay.
one girl. So like his focus was like that is
the boys.
That is So my mother, I told my mother said, so what can we do? So my mother went there. She was still doing the petty trading. So she went and bought a sewing machine. Then I can use this one and go and learn a trade.
No, wait. When your father could not,
yes.
Your mother tried to send you to trading.
He said, yeah,
he bought you a
sewing machine.
Right.
Yes. So but my focus was not that. My focus was to go to the university because my mother ever told me that I know you like reading, you like education. Even for me to stay off school and help in the house, it takes a very difficult task for me to stay because I don't want to absent myself even one day in school. So one day my mother, I think we were going to the market, and my mother called me and said, Akolbila, I know that the way you are pursuing your education, you want to be somebody in the future. But I don't have it. But I know God will provide one day. That was the time we were staying in the house before she traveled to my father. So when I went, he bought the sewing machine. I said, Ma, this thing is not part of me. I want to focus. He said, okay, what do we do? Then I suggested to her. I said, okay, sell the sewing machine. I'll go back home and look for a job. So really my mother sold the sewing machine. And then I used it as transportation, bought other things, few things for me, with dresses, then I went back to stay with my old man. So when I got back, then I started application everywhere at the ministry. Every day I'm at the ministry, going from office to office. Ghana News Agency, I'll go there. I'll go to Ministry of Agri. I went to Regional Coordinating Council, all those ones. Lucky enough, it was regional, that time they were called regional administration. You know, they have a catering division where they cook and those things. So I decided to apply and they employed me. First they employed me as a receptionist. Then later on they said the place was choked, so they pushed me to the catering division, but I will be at administration. I said okay. So it was there I was working, but my mind was still to go to school. So from there I said okay. Then I decided to marry. When I married, still my focus was still to go to the school. So when I had my firstborn, then I decided to apply for the secretariat school. So I went to the secretariat school, completed successfully. When I completed the secretariat school, I started applying as an office secretary and a typist. And then I was employed with the Construction and Building Material Workers Union as an office secretary. So I was working under people, but I didn't leave it there. I was pursuing small courses. I like reading. Asking questions. I like, if I see you, progressing, I try to get closer to you to see how you are able to make it. So, and true, TUC is an educational institution too. So I started going for their workshops, their seminars, and those things. So through there, then my boss realized that no, I was serious, because when I come to the workshops, my contributions and the work I do at the regional level, so they promoted me as assistant industrial relations officer. Then I decided to pursue this certificate in labor studies at the Ghana Labor College here. When I completed, I didn't leave it there. I decided to pursue for the diploma in labor studies at UCC. So when I finished, then I was promoted as principal.
So at that time, when your father saw the progress that you were making?
Oh, my father died. I think when he went on retirement, he came home, but I then had married.
So at what age did your father pass away?
My father The age about 70 something.
Okay.
Yeah, over at
So
75.
When he said women are for the kitchen, or they are married
Yes, yeah,
material,
yeah.
he was concentrating on the boys.
Yes.
So all the struggle that you made through,
Yeah.
he did not see your struggle and the effort that you're making.
He saw it. He saw it. And I'll give this money.
Okay.
When my father came home, I was now the breadwinner. If I take my salary, I have to provide to my father's house.
Okay.
I have to give to my mother. My mother will also cook you eat with my other siblings.
So when you were feeding the family,
Yeah.
what was your mother's reaction?
My mother was saying that all things work together for our good. He has seen the fruit of the woman that he thought maybe it was going to another house, not his house. So even when my mother passed on, I took care of my father.
So your mother passed on
Before
your
my father. And when my father was sick, I was the one who was taking care of him. I would leave my husband's house, go and pick him with a taxi to the hospital for treatment.
So what was those that he focused that they will be
the
best people to look after him?
They also went for dinner purchase. They also came to Kumasi to hustle for themselves. So that is where I started. So I realized that life is not, you are holding your own life. And if you don't make good use of that life that God has given to you to achieve the purpose, that was my mind. So
your father left you.
Yeah.
You have to struggle.
Yes.
And make an impact for your life.
Yes.
Writing letters.
Yes.
Became a secretary for the receptionist.
Yes.
For the building and construction department.
Yes.
Now, so what happened next?
Yeah. So after that, I said after pursuing the diploma, then that was in 2012. I said no. There was elections on that. You know, this thing is every 4 years we go for election. So from the regional level, I was now the principal industrial liaison officer, manning 2 regions, Upper East and Upper West region. I was manning the 2 regions. And you can see the tension. Construction work, coming to meet workers. I have to go to Tumu, go to Laura, go to all those areas to meet workers. As our focus is protect the interests of the worker through collective bargaining. All these things I was doing it, and that made an impact for the promotion as the principal industrial liaison officer. So in 2012, I went to do the diploma, and then that was the year of our elections. So I said, okay, I'll contest for the deputy general secretary. Say, can you? I said, I'll do it. Everything, trust God that, and have the faith that I can make it, and leave those other areas to God. So I contested as the deputy general secretary, and then I won the elections. When I won the election, and that was the first time TUC.
So at that election, were there not men among?
There were men among. It wasn't. I even contested with a man.
So you competing with men.
Yeah.
What was the feeling like?
The feeling was, the feeling was that this is something that they have never seen in the trade union. A woman contesting for the deputy general secretary. They know that they are staff, secretary, head of department, those things. But coming to contest as the deputy general secretary, they saw it not normal. So, men, they will call you names. The woman, she's a witch. Because this position, no woman has ever contested it. It's only one woman who contested, but she was not able to win it. They frustrated the woman, and the woman, even after the election, left the union and joined an international union. Okay. So you could see the frustrations that were coming out left and right. But I have focused, and my focus was on this God. My focus was on God. God, they said this thing cannot be done. But to me, I know it can be done through your words, and it must come to pass. So really, I contested with the man, but the man didn't win. I won the elections as the Deputy General Secretary. And I believe...
So how many people did you contest during that election?
It was only one man that contested with me.
Okay.
No, the man was already a Deputy General Secretary.
Okay.
So I said, I'm going to contest it. He said, okay. So I contested. And my nominations were more than his nominations. Okay. So that is where I won the elections. When I won the elections, I came. Working with men, it is not easy. Yeah, because immediately they get to know that, yes, now where you are going, now you are coming to their position. They will frustrate you. But with all that, I didn't mind, because my focus was, how am I going to help the Ghanaian worker in the construction sector? They are going through a whole lot of health. Health and safety is a very big problem. Their remunerations are not adequate. Unfair terminations. So what am I going to do to make an impact? If you make that impact and you come one day to stand out, they will support you. So that was my focus. I have traveled the length and breadth of this country when I was the Deputy General Secretary, up to the North Volta, all those areas, just to bring workers to fight for their interests. So in 2016, I said, okay, I'm moving another step. So I said, another step, yes.
Yes, a brave woman.
Another step. I said, yes, I'm going to move for another step. Though the man has been in the system for a very long time, he himself said he was not ready to come back again for re-election, because even as I came, he mentioned it in one of our meetings, as you have come as a woman, you have worked even more than a man. And really, I saw it myself, bringing these Chinese work companies together, these multinationals. Even areas that I went, since he has never been there. But I was able to go there, bring the workers together.
So, in your tenure, you were able to break the gap. The men were not able to go there.
Yes.
And so
to organize the workers there. If you know, going to Ho, from Ho to Pasa, from Pasa to Kwanta, it is a no-go area, and that is where the Chinese were working. And if you could remember, new canals of construction, all those ones, I organized them. The Chinese industry, I organized them. I was able to break the gap with the field officers with me. So I made a change. As for the change, I made a change. I am not bragging, but by the grace of God, I was able to go to that length where they could not go. So, as trade unionists, you don't sit in the office. Our work is to go out and see what is happening there. So 2016, I said, okay, I'll make another step. And that brought the issue. Say, a woman has never taken this position before. It was the campaign all over.
So what was the position?
The General Secretaryship.
The General Secretary.
It's for the Construction and Building Material Workers Union.
Okay.
That was where I was working first, Construction and Building Material Workers Union. So when I wanted to make the step, it became a problem. But I was still focusing. I have to. And when the elections came, the difference was 9. And my spoiled vote was 9.
So how many people also competed for this General Secretary position?
The General Secretary position was not, it was myself alone that contested for that General Secretary position.
So now you beat all the men, you put them behind bars.
Yes, so I have to. So, as the script, all these election malpractices and those things, they'll put their favorites in the Constitutional Committee, Election Committee, and those things. So I saw that there was something wrong with the election. When the results came, I said, no problem, but I have made an impact. Where women are free to go, I have gone there. Yeah. So if I even lose elections, I haven't lost my life. So looking at the trend of the elections and then the results, some of the companies decided that no, this one, there's something wrong. The woman won, but there's something wrong. So they are moving out. So myself, I was shocked that men were so supportive. That those huge companies came out to say that, Madam, we are withdrawing. We want you to get a union who will work with you.
No competitor.
I said, oh, I say yes. So that is how General Construction, Manufacturing, Inquiry Workers Union came to be. And we also have our executives. Me being the General Secretary, then I have my deputy, I have the chairman and all the positions.
Yeah. Being the General Secretary for the General Construction,
Manufacturing
Workers Union,
yeah.
What difference are you bringing here?
Our difference is to make an impact in the Ghanaian construction worker. Make some transformation in their work. Protect their interests, especially wages and health and safety. And health and safety is one of the things that is in my heart. That as a worker, you come with your 10 fingers, then you go home with 8 fingers. And that is my heartbeat. The health and safety of a Ghanaian worker. And you can see that most construction workers, we have a lot of injuries at the site. And if there's no union there, management will never let anybody know that there's an injury at the site. Meanwhile, the law provides it, that if there's any injury at the site, you, the employer, within 1 week or 10 days, you should report to what? To the labor department that there is an injury or workplace accident, for them to come in and put up measures. Maybe you didn't put up the health and safety measures well. They will come and do that supervision and see what the problem is and advise. And that's what the law is saying. But some of the employers, they decide maybe to put the worker at the corner. And you know, workers are money. But when the union is there, we make sure that we stand firm for the right thing to be done, to make sure that the workman compensation law applies.
So how do you monitor this, the insecurity in the construction work? Because this company that is finding in Ghana, most of them, their workers, they may have the challenge, as you talk about the dangers that they face at work. Yeah. Some of them, they will go like somebody's hand will be cut off, may have an injury or something like that. Yeah. But they will find a way. The company may not even respond to the worker. They may even use the opportunity to sack the worker. How do you monitor activities on the floor? These
are some of the challenges that we face, but as a union, we pursue it. We put executives in place in every company. Immediately we organize you, we do elections to get executives. Those executives monitor whatever is happening there and report to us. So if there's a workplace injury, the executives will report. If management doesn't report, the executives will go to management and report to them. If nothing happens, then they report to the mother union. And that is where we pursue to make sure that the right thing is done. At the moment, we have a lot of them here that we are pursuing. People fell from the height. People's hands were smashed with this concrete mixture. They had to cut off the hand. We pursued and make sure that the workman compensation is paid. People were carrying blocks and fell, and some of the blocks fell on them. Some of them died instantly. Some had very deep cracks. We are still following up the issues. They are still going for the hospital for reviews. So all these things we follow up. We call them. How far? What have they done? Have you gone to the hospital? Have they attended to you? So what is the next step? Then we follow up to the labor department to see what is happening. So as a union, that is our work. So we put these executives in place to give us the feedback, and we ourselves make a follow-up to find out what is happening. Yeah.
It's nice talking to Mrs. Comfort Akolbila, Agambaa, General Secretary for General Constructions, Manufacturers and Quarries Union of Trade Union Congress.
Yes.
It's our pleasure talking to you. What would be your advice to these young ladies that they are out there, also struggling with life? Most of them don't have parents. They're relying on boyfriends, they're relying on other means that they think that's happening, but yet still are struggling. What would be your advice to these young ladies concerning what you pass through, but do not look at the other side, but look at the goal ahead of you?
Yes. You know, nowadays, we never rely on boyfriends. As I told you, I used to get up by 4 a.m. with my mother. We'll carry the rice from Zuarungu to Bolga. That's about 4 to 5 kilometers, a granny mill. So I leave her there and walk back to school. Look at what I was going through. Because if I don't do that, we will not be able to survive. And we will not be able to buy just petty things. Those days we were not paying school fees. But your uniform, you have to look decent. Your sandal, you have to look decent. And then when you come home, you need to get something to eat. But these days, you can get something to do for yourself. And start from there. You can go and help somebody. You see, we know people are not well trusted to go and live and work with them. But you can go and carry concrete. Yeah? People think that because I'm a lady, I cannot do this. But you pursue for God to also help you. This petty trading, you can do it. It can help you. You go and pick something, go and sell and send the money back. Be faithful to yourself. But if you want to rely on boyfriend, girlfriend, your life will continue to be like that because you can never go far. Go petty trading. But some, even you can see some have even completed school. Poly. I know a lady who have completed school. He has a degree in business, but no work. But he started in their house, selling small. And she's making it. You see, so you don't just sit down to say, there's no job. Yes, there's no job, but you can find job for yourself, since you want to move ahead of life. You go to Agambaa, there's plantain and those things there. Take some, go and sell. You can get something out of it. Start with something and see what God will do for you. But if you don't start with your something and sit down, these lazy hands will not give you anything. I went through a lot. And even with that, I'm going to add this, even that when I was even working, I was doing farming in addition. At Tilly, you know Tilly, when you're going to Boku, Tilly, I used to farm there, granules. I'll go and hire the laborers, they'll go and farm for me, weed and do everything. I'll get the seedlings, go and, you know this Global 2000 that came, I did those things. So at the end of the day, I don't buy food, I only buy ingredients. And that's how I was able to be saving small. You understand? So when the Construction and Building Material Workers Union saw my place, they sponsored my education to the certificate, the diploma, and then the labor policy. They did it for me. Because if you don't pursue and people don't see the efforts, the zeal, the commitment that you are doing, so how can you move? So they should start with something and be committed to it. Be faithful to the person that you are working with. And the next thing is that God will just open the gate for you to move ahead. But you should not rely on boyfriend. You know there's no job. But you can still find something to do as a living and not depend on a boyfriend. They will use you. At the end of the day, if you're not lucky, you even carry certain things that you don't need, you don't like. And if your parents are there, they are also going to have those challenges. They don't even have. And you are carrying this thing to them. What do they do? So they should pursue. They should, put some zeal in themselves and do some petty trading. You see, not all of them sitting there selling tomatoes are local women. Some are educated. Some are educated because I don't have anything to do. When I come, I will get maybe 5 cedis, 10 cedis. You have not gone to steal. You have not gone to do prostitution. But God has seen that you have an agenda. And that agenda, I will make it work for you. When you are truthful to yourself, when you are faithful to yourself, when you are committed to the things that you do. And leave the rest to God.
Mama, thank you very much for the insightful education that you've given us.
Yeah.
And we also pray. So, from this end, what is the next step? Now you are the General Secretary.
Yeah.
What is the next step?
The next step is still unknown.
All right. Thank you very much for
it's still unknown,